Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 374th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. As you know, I number my games, but if I was to name this game, I would name it A Tale of Two Flanks. The reason I would name it A Tale of Two Flanks is you will see as the game unfolds. Okay, so as I say, if I named it, that's what I would name it. As you can see, this battle was fought on a custom map hosted by Brotherhood member Crypto. Okay. Our first teammate is Brotherhood member Legion 22, who has unusually bought the Armenia faction. Now, as a lot of you will know, Armenia would be looked upon as a lesser 31k faction by some. So to see Legion bringing this is very unusual. As you can see, he's got 4 archers there. If you look at the upgrades, you'll see he's got 6 upgrades, so he's got gold shield, gold attack on his archers. Remember, these archers are only short range archers, unfortunately, but they're quite effective. And I see he's got 6 Armenian legionnaires. Okay, now if we have a look at the upgrades on those legionnaires, you'll see they've got 9 upgrades. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so they are fully upgraded legionnaires there. Okay, that's 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now these legionnaires look a little bit like Roman urban cohorts, but their specifications are a lot less. They can throw pilas, but as I say, their specifications are a lot less, and even fully upgraded, they are susceptible to archer fire. So even with the fully upgraded, as I say, they're not fantastic there. There's the Armenian general, as you can see. Now, if you notice, can you see the standard that standard bearer is carrying there of cavalry? Because the Armenian strength is its cavalry. Okay, their infantry is well, not brilliant, but their cavalry has got good specifications. Okay, also I see he's got Armenian heavy spearmen here as well. Okay, and these guys have got a bonus against enemy cavalry, and I see he's got 5 or 6 upgrades on these guys. They're great anti-cavalry spearmen there, but maybe not so good against infantry. Okay, so that's his infantry there. I think he's got 10 infantry, the legionnaires and the spearmen, 4 archers. Now let's have a look at the elite troops of Armenia. And as you can see, they're the cataphracts. Now if you look at the upgrades, can you see he's got 9 upgrades? So that's 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on these already elite cavalry. Okay, there we go. Once again, the cataphracts we call the tanks of the ancient world because they're armoured from head to toe. And if you use alt attack on them, then they'll use their effective against armour maces. Okay, so they are very effective, and with those upgrades on, these can be battle-winning troops. So they are very effective, and as I say, we do call them the tanks of the ancient world. And I see he's got 6 of them, so he's got 6 fully upgraded cataphract cavalry, as I say, 10 infantry and 4 archers. So that's a pretty balanced army. But as I say, a lot of people would look at Armenia as a lesser 31k faction. Would be interested to see how well it does. Okay, our next teammate is Brotherhood member Trajan, who has bought the Rome Scipii faction. As you can see there, I think he's got 13 infantry, 2 archers and 5 cavalry. Okay, so it's 13 infantry, 2 archers, 5 cavalry. Let's have the upgrades on his cavalry. Okay, he's got 8 upgrades. So he's got 2 experience stripes, a gold shield, gold attack. Now that makes this elite cavalry even more elite, kind of super elite with those type of upgrades on. Okay, so it'll be interesting to see how well they do. As I say, with those upgrades on, that does make them kind of like super elite cavalry. So that's a pretty balanced army there. I think 13 infantry, 2 archers and 5 really well upgraded cavalry. Okay, our next teammate is myself, Spartan Commander, who's bought his usual old army of 12 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, as I say, that army is probably 10 or 11 years old, but I like bringing it to the modern day battlefield just to see how well it does against good modern players. Okay, our next teammate is the host of this battle, Brotherhood member Crypto, who's unusually bought the Greek cities faction. Now this is an experimental Greek city army that he's got, and if you notice, he's got 10 infantry, 5 Spartans and 5 armoured hoplites. Have a look at the upgrades on his Spartans though. Can you see he's got 7 upgrades? So he's got gold shield, gold attack, plus an experience stroke. Now remember, these Spartans have got great specifications anyway, excellent morale and 2 hit points. You put an experience stroke on them and it kind of makes these already superb infantry even more superb and elite. Okay, you don't see many Greek cities army with Spartans with a stripe on. Okay, so these red cloaked Spartans, now with that experience stripe on, could make all the difference during the course of this battle. But he's only got 5 of those, as you can see, and I say 5 armoured hoplites. So have a look at the upgrades on his 5 armoured hoplites there. You can see he just got 6 upgrades. So he just got gold shield, gold attack on those armoured hoplites there. And say newer players to Rome Total War there, you can see the difference there between the Spartans and the armoured hoplites there. Okay, but as I say, the specifications are kind of like worlds apart. I see he's got 5 long-range Cretan archers. Now, unusually, a lot of you will probably notice this straight away. He's got 5 cavalry. Now, how often do you see 5 cavalry bought with a Greek city's army? You see he's got his general armoured bodyguard unit there. Let's have a look there. Can you see a Greek city's general on horseback? Unusual to see a Greek city's general as a cavalry unit. So that is very unusual there. As I say, this is an experimental army of his. He's got 2 other general armoured bodyguard units there, and I think he's got 2 fast-moving light cavalry there with only 2 upgrades on. So, as I say, it's unusual to see 5 cavalry with a Greek city's army, but as I say, this is an experimental army, and it'll be interesting to see how well that cavalry does during the course of the battle. Probably good for hitting enemy archers and things like that. So there's our team, but you wait till you see the other team. Good one to watch. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I just thought I'd show you an old-fashioned tactic. If you notice here, you see I've got my cavalry right over as far as I can to support my Greek city's ally. Now, years ago, we used to have some enemies used to lightning attack us right at the beginning of the battle. And very often, as our teammates are moving over to the centre, they get hit in the flank by enemy cavalry. So this is an old tactic here where I've brought my cavalry over to support my Greek city's ally as he moves over to the centre. So if any enemy cavalry or maybe even infantry or anything tries to attack, then I've got my cavalry there to support him. If you notice here also, he's got his 5 units of cavalry well over here on the left flank here, probably looking to target enemy archers. At this stage of battle, I thought we'd just have a little chat about Brotherhood member Lando, or Turbo, as a lot of veterans would know him here. You can see here he's got the SBQR faction, and he's got, let's see, got 13 infantry there. Of course, he's on the other team, and I think he's got 2 archers. So he's got 13 infantry, and he's got 5 cavalry. 13 infantry, 2 archers, 5 cavalry. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his cavalry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so he's got 8 upgrades on his cavalry. 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So that, as I say, that makes that already elite cavalry super elite there. I know a lot of veterans probably find looking at the army builds a little bit maybe boring, but for new players to Rome Total War, I hope it helps you to maybe give you some ideas about building your army. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Bark, who's bought the Carthage faction, and I think he's got, see, he's got about 15 infantry there. It's about 15 infantry. Have a look at the upgrades on his infantry formation here, though. Can you see he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his pilot shield? If you move back to the next battle rank there, you can see he's got 6 upgrades again, gold shield, gold attack. But if you move further back into his formation, can you see he's got his more elite troops with 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack at the back of his formation. Okay, so these are what you call staggered upgrades here on his formation. As you see, the enemy will make the first forward units will make first contact with the enemy, soaking up pilers and taking the first assault, and then the tired enemy troops will fight through them and then come up against his elite troops at the rear of that formation. So this staggered upgrade formation here, very effective there. As I say, the tired enemy troops will fight through his lower upgraded troops and then come up against his more elite troops. As he's got 5 sacred band cavalry. Okay, he's only got 6 upgrades on them, gold shield, gold attack. He decided to spend the bulk of his money on his infantry. So I say he got 15 spearmen and 5 cavalry there, but no slingers. Okay, the next teammate is Brotherhood member Mad King, who has bought the Rome SBQR faction. So look there. I think he's got 11 infantry. Yeah, 11 infantry and an archer unit there. But just like to draw your attention to his army build here. If you notice, he's got an eagle unit at the back of his formation. Okay, so he's got an eagle unit, and that's going to give morale bonus to his infantry there. If you notice here, can you see this unit here is saying happy to be near command unit. Okay, so all his infantry will be getting a kind of like a general morale bonus from that eagle unit. And this frees up his actual real general, who is a cavalry unit here. And if you notice the upgrades on his general unit here, you can see he's got 9 upgrades. So that's 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on his general. So that makes that already elite unit really, really difficult to kill. I see his other cavalry units have got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Now that cavalry there is going to be a real menace, because not only have they got great upgrades, they're also going to have the general morale bonus with them wherever they go. So that those cavalry could be possibly battle winning cavalry there. We'll just have to wait and see as the battle unfolds. But that's a really good army build there, I think, and an interesting one too. Okay, their 4th teammate is someone we don't see very often in our games, is Titan Sparky. A lot of you will know Titan Sparky, very good 31k player. Unless he's got 14 pike units. He's got 2 archer units there. Let's have a look at the upgrades on his pikemen in that particular formation. So say he got 14 of them. Right, if you notice, his forward units have got 6 upgrades on. So he's got gold shield, gold attack on his forward units there. Okay, but as you move further back into the formation, can you see his next lines there have got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. Okay, so that makes those troops really elite there, and this is a very good, once again, staggered upgrades here in his formation. His forward units would make the first contact with the enemy, soak up the pillars, etc. And then as the enemy fight through that first rank, they're going to come up against his more elite troops with their 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So that's a nice, as I say, staggered, upgraded formation there. As I say, for new players to roam Total War, thinking about bringing Macedon. Now so he's got 4 cavalry units there, companion cavalry units, I'm guessing, as we go in have a closer look. Right, if you notice there, he's got 6 upgrades. So he's just got gold shield, gold attack on his cavalry. These companion cavalry are sometimes called the winged horsemen because of the winged kind of things on their helmets. Okay. And they've got a very good charge as well. So there's the enemy team there. As I'm sure you can see, it's going to be a great battle. At this stage of the battle, I just thought I'd have a quick word about Brotherhood member Lando, or Brotherhood member Turbo, as a lot of you will know. He is an out-and-out aggressive attacking player. He comes from the same mould as I think we've seen in other battle videos as Scorpion King SR and the co-founder of the Brotherhood, Conan. All he knows is really attack, grab the initiative by the scruff of the neck and run with it and take the battle to the enemy. As I say, we've seen him in other battle videos. He lays his credentials right out from the very beginning of the battle, usually, to be aggressive and attack. And it'll be interesting to see if he's going to do the same in this battle. My guess is that he is going to be aggressive and he is going to attack. Okay, this very, very early part of the battlefield. This is the very first stage of the battle here. You can see Brotherhood member Lando there taking his cavalry and infantry straight over towards our Greek city's ally, looking to hit him in the flank or try and cause some mischief and damage as fast as he can. You see he's running flat out over towards our Greek city's ally here. Okay, so that's as I say, right from the beginning of the battle here you can see that Lando is definitely going to be very aggressive in this battle, as he always is in most of his battles that I've actually seen him in here. Right, if you notice here, can you see that Crypto's putting his archers out here to shoot at the advancing enemy Roman infantry? Remember, shooting at Roman infantry that are stood still, you're going to do minimal damage, but shooting at them when they're moving, you can do quite a bit of damage to them. Okay, so that's why he's moved his archers out to do that, but of course he must watch out for the enemy cavalry. And my guess is that Turbo there, chasing off our Greek city's light cavalry there, will look to smash into these archers if Crypto's not careful. Okay, I've got my cavalry there ready to help, and if you notice here, Legion 22's brought his Armenian elite cavalry down here as well. So we've got a bit of cover for those archers if Lando decides to charge into those Cretan archers of Crypto there. If I was Crypto though, I would definitely kind of back off those archers at this stage though, because he doesn't want to suffer any casualties, I don't think there. As you can see there, he's pulling his archers back there, and both Legion and myself are moving our cavalry forward here to maybe neutralise any cavalry hit on those archers. Okay, if you notice here, Lando's moved his cavalry back, and you might notice here that Lando's also got help from his Carthage ally there. Okay. Right, if you notice here, once again, Lando moving forward very aggressively here. Okay, I think what Lando's thinking here is he's looking to take out those archers if he can with his cavalry. He's also going to run his infantry forward as well here, so that he's got infantry and cavalry here, and he's got his Carthage Sacred Band cavalry allies behind him as well there to charge in. So he's thinking that maybe with his infantry and all that cavalry he could neutralise our cavalry. But I think it was at this stage of the battle I said to our team, hit Lando. If you notice, I'm turning my infantry now to hit Lando in the flank. Our Greek city's ally could also charge down there with his pikemen there. But look at the nearest support that Lando's got now. It's his Carthage ally all the way over there. Both our Greek cities ally and my army are closer to his than his allies here. So Lando, through his aggression, has become a little bit isolated from his teammates here. And with all our cavalry and maybe 2 lots of infantry heading down towards him, he could be in trouble. But meanwhile, over on our right flank here, can you see our Armenian ally here is facing Macedon? But as we've just seen, all his cavalry has moved off to the left flank there. And if you notice that the enemy Macedon General Sparky has noticed that and is moving his cavalry round to the flank. So we must be careful of that, because as I say, the majority of our cavalry are all moved off to the left there. And we must keep an eye on that Macedon cavalry as well as those Macedon pikemen. Okay, meanwhile, moving over to our left flank here, you can see here that Lando is moving forward towards us very aggressively here. He's going to charge his cavalry into my cavalry there, and bang, his cavalry charges in. Okay, I'm going to absorb the hit, and then I'm going to charge my cavalry in there as well. See, Legion 22's Armenian cavalry is charging in. We've got our Greek cities allied cavalry charging in here as well, and bang, as they both hit into Lando's cavalry there. Okay, if you notice there, I've also moved my infantry down. I'm engaging the enemy SBQR infantry. Our Greek cities ally is moving his spear units down as well. Okay, let's just pause the game for a second. So as you can see here, there's a lot of SBQR infantry and cavalry facing all our cavalry here. Can you see Trajan's brought his Scipii cavalry into the fray as well? Now I notice here that Barak has got 3 of his Sacred Band units that he's going to take in, maybe around the rear and crash into the back of our Armenian cavalry ally there, or he might go on to take the archers on there. But as you can see here, can you see my infantry is already engaging the SBQR infantry, and our Greek cities allies moved his spear units down as well. So with Trajan's cavalry coming in as well, I'm not sure how long Lando will be able to hold. Look how far he is away from his allies. So unfortunately he has become a bit isolated here over on our left flank, and I think he may pay the price for that. Looking at all the cavalry coming in as well. There's Trajan's cavalry smashing in as well. Look. And bang, as that cavalry hits home. Okay, so our left flank here, we're putting a lot of pressure on Lando's beleaguered army here. And as you can see, a lot of his units are already starting to rout here on our left flank. Okay, do you remember though that I told you at the beginning of this game, if I was to name this battle, I would name it A Tale of Two Flanks. Okay, so that's good on our left flank, but look at our right flank here. Can you see our Armenian ally, remember, looked upon as a lesser 31k faction facing the mighty Macedon faction here. Now my guess is that Sparky will run his pikemen on to engage the forward units. He would then get his cavalry in behind the Armenian infantry here and smash into the flank or even into the rear of the Armenian general. Remember, Armenian morale is very, very low, so if you take out the general, you've got a chance of having a mass rout. So we must be careful over on our right flank. Yeah, we're doing okay on our left flank. And if you notice, all our cavalry now, including Trajan's cavalry, is down there. If you notice, Barak's 3 cavalry units there could come up to help Sparky here to take out our Armenian ally. So yes, we're doing well on our left flank here, but we must watch our right flank as well at this time. Okay, here, as I say, there's a lot of pressure on Lando's army here. Just going to pause the game for a second here. As you can see, a lot of pressure there. But meanwhile, over here on our right flank, as I say, my guess is the Macedon general is going to run forward, engage our Armenian allies spearmen there. You see, my guess is he'll run forward. This is a usual tactic by a pike general. He'll run forward, and just as he makes contact with the enemy, he'll put his pikes down. Let's see if that's what he's going to do here. If you notice, the Armenian legionnaires here are throwing their pointers in, but bearing in mind they don't do the same damage as urban cohorts, okay? because, as I say, their specifications are so low. Right, can you see Sparky here running his pikeman forward, making contact with the enemy, bang, puts his pikes down. Okay, so he's now engaged those forward spear units there, so they're pinned and held. Okay, so that's the anti-cavalry units pinned and held there. Okay, meanwhile, on our left flank, we have now routed Lando's army. Okay, so all of the SBQR, enemy SBQR troops on our left flank have now been routed. Okay, so with a combination of cavalry and 2 lots of infantry there, we have managed to rout Lando's infantry on our left. So our left flank has done really well there. Okay, Trajan spotted the damage that could be happening over on our right flank there, and he's moving his cavalry back up to support. As you can see, Bark's 3 cavalry units here could aid his Macedon ally. Right, now what I'm worried here is that those cavalry are going to smash into the back of that Armenian general. If they do that and rout him, then that whole Armenian infantry could rout. It could be a mass rout here, and bang, as that cavalry penetrates deep into the Armenian ranks, taking out, probably routing the general there, and there, bang, a complete mass chain rout there of Armenia. Okay, so in one cavalry charge there, our entire right flank has now been routed. Okay, our entire right flank has now been routed there. So we've done well on our left flank, but we have lost our right flank here. Okay, you can see Trajan bringing his cavalry up here. He spotted the danger there, but just couldn't get there in time to help. And meanwhile, can you see that Mad King here with his SBQR army is aggressively attacking the forward units of Trajan. Okay, veterans to RTW now can see now what the enemy are going to do. They're going to try and roll us up from right to left. Their next target would be our right centre Trajan's army here. The Macedon troops will come pouring in here from our right flank. And I say he's got Bark's cavalry, 3 units of Bark's cavalry, and with Mad King charging in here as well. And you can see both Crypto and myself are well over on the left flank. We've seen the danger. We're running our infantry over here. Now what Bark could do here with his infantry is put in a battle, bring his formation over here and face us, okay, as a blocking unit, to block our reinforcements getting over to Trajan. Okay, and if you put in his infantry there, he could then use his rear Carthage Sacred Band units to attack Trajan on the left here. Okay, so he could attack Trajan on the left with his rear units. Mad King's attacking from the front, and then Sparky would attack from the right flank here. So Trajan would be assailed from 3 different directions if Bark brings his infantry over as a blocking force to stop us from getting up there to reinforce Trajan. Okay, so as I say, if Bark puts his army there facing us, he will then use his army as a blocking force, and we will find it very difficult to get up to support Trajan. As you can see, Trajan charging his cavalry in there, but my guess is he'll pull his cavalry back. Now our Armenian ally's been completely routed. No good leaving his cavalry in there. It just gets taken out by those pikemen there. Best to pull his cavalry back, which he's done. Okay, so he's pulled his cavalry back there now, but make no mistake about this, the enemy now will definitely look to roll us up from right to left. As you can see, both Crypto and myself have brought our armies up here to try and support Trajan. You can see Trajan charging his cavalry in here, trying to counter enemy charge. But if you notice some Macedon cavalry coming into the flank of his engaged troops, and bang, as that Macedon cavalry hits. Also, can you see Mad King's really well upgraded cavalry charging in as well here, and those SBQR cavalry are just about to hit, and bang, as that cavalry smashes in. You can see Trajan trying to charge his cavalry in there to counter that attack there, but as you can see here, a lot of our Scipii allies units are now routing. We've got Macedon troops coming in. Can you see this Trajan's unit here saying distraught over the number of enemies? Okay, so the morale of his units are going to be dropping like a stone because they're distraught. If you notice the Macedon units there, with all those troops, 14 units of Macedon, 120 is 1,680 Macedon troops coming on in. Plus he's got the enemy SBQR troops coming in as well. Plus he's got these enemy Carthage troops. So that unit now is no wonder he's distraught by all the enemy troops around him. And as I say, when they are distraught, their morale drops like a stone, and they are susceptible to routing. Very susceptible to routing. And as I say, the Macedon general there would just probably down pikes and move forward slowly. I always think they move forward like a steamroller, very slowly, but go over everything that's in front of them. And as I say, Mad King's charging that well upgraded cavalry straight into Trajan as well. And as you can see, Trajan's general now is there for the killing by those Macedon troops there, and those SBQR cavalry and infantry smashing in as well. Okay, so you can see a lot of Trajan's infantry has now been routed. And as I say, with the Macedon troops pouring as well. I see Legion's got his elite cavalry in behind the enemy troops here. And if you notice here, you can see Crypto's bought his Greek city units up here as well to help Trajan. But with the relentless movement of those Macedon troops forward here, there could be trouble. Okay, I just want to draw your attention to this particular part of the battlefield. Can you see that Spartacus upped his pikes and starts to run back here? Okay, now I thought at the time it's an unusual thing to have done there, because Trajan's general is at his mercy. All he needs to do is move his pikemen forward, and he would then take out Trajan's that one unit by the side of Trajan and his general there if he kept moving. Put a battle line where Trajan's general is there, trying to attract our Greek cities allies to attack his massed pikes, and if they do that, his SBQ or ally can smash into the flank of the engaged Greek city troops. Okay, so I thought that was quite a reasonable tactic to do there. But Sparky must have had a reason for upping pikes here and pulling back. But as I say, if he'd have moved forward, he'd have taken out Trajan's general, set a thick battle line there to attract our Greek cities allies onto him, and then his SBQ or ally then could smash into the side of the engaged Greek city troops there. Okay, Crypto might have put a couple of blocker units over there, but he would have still been under pressure from two sides if Sparky's done that. So I'm not quite sure why he upped pikes and retreated at this stage of the battle. Okay, you can see our archers there are shooting arrows into our Macedon ally all the time, causing lots of casualties. Remember, those 120 man units are very susceptible to missile damage. And as you can see, my infantry here, I've got them engaged with the Carthage Sacred Band. Okay, so and as I say, Legion's got his elite cavalry in behind the enemy troops there. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with his cavalry at this stage of the battle. Okay, so there you go. He's going to charge his Armenian cavalry into the enemy SBQ or cavalry here. Now remember, both lots of cavalry here have got great upgrades. I think the Armenian cavalry have got 9 upgrades, 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, and Madkin's got 8 upgrades. But if you look closely here, just pause the game for a second. If you look closely here, can you see that Legion has alt attacked with his cataphracts, and they're using the effective against armor maces? Okay, now the Roman cavalry here are still fighting with their light lances. Okay, if they alt attack, they'd be fighting with their heavy swords, which do more damage. So that is a real scrap going on there. And can you see that Mad King is moving his SBQ or infantry across here as well to attack those Armenian cavalry? So there's a massive attack going on here, and that is one kind of scrap, a massive kind of scrap there, I think. Okay, I'm going to ask you a tactical attack question now. So have a look all over the battlefield and see if you can guess what might happen next. Okay, so if you were in charge of my cavalry here, okay, they're battle damaged but still quite effective. If you were in charge of my cavalry, is there any targets that you can see on the battlefield here that you would go for? Okay, let's have a close look. The one thing I can see here is the rear of the engaged Carthage general. Now, if I charge my 6 units of cavalry into the back of that engaged Carthage general there, do you reckon there's a good chance of taking him out? And if, of course, if we can rout the general, then the morale of all his troops would lower. So that might be a good target straight into the back of that Carthage general. Also, I notice over here, there's Macedon cavalry attacking our archers. So maybe if I move my cavalry over here, I could support my archers and maybe take out that Macedon cavalry. Now, would that be a good move? Is that what you do? Bring a cavalry over here to support our archers against that Macedon cavalry? So I still like to look at that back of that Carthage general, though, hitting him there. But anyway, bring my cavalry up round here, take out these Macedon Cretan archers, and then get my cavalry round behind the Macedon pikemen. So if they engage any of our troops, I could smash into the rear of those Macedon pikemen there. Okay, so what option would you take if you were kind of in charge of my cavalry? What target would you see? I still think the back of that Carthage general would be a great hit there, but let's see what I decide to do. Okay, if you notice here what I'm going to do with my cavalry, I'm going to charge them through my Armenian allies cavalry here and try and smash the SBQR cavalry and infantry at this stage of battle. See my cavalry going in wedge formation for extra penetration there. Can you see the cavalry going in and bang as it goes straight through my allies cavalry? We've just killed the SBQR general there, and bang, my cavalry smashes on through those SBQR cavalry and infantry there, and we've routed most of the enemy troops there. Okay, another battlefield attack question here. Now we've broken the SBQR cavalry and infantry here, and you were in charge of my cavalry. What would you do now? On up there, take those Cretan archers out that have been firing into us all through the battle. Is that what you would do? Take my cavalry out there? Maybe take those archers out there, and then get my cavalry in behind these Macedon pikemen. As I say, if they engage any of our allies' troops there, I could smash into the rear of them with my cavalry. Is that what you would do now? Take my cavalry up round there, take those Cretan archers out, and get him in behind those Macedon pikemen. Is that an option that you would think about there? Take those archers out and get in behind. Let's see what I'm going to do here. Okay, I'm not going to do that option. Veterans probably see what I'm going to do here. I'm going to smash into the rear of those engaged SBQR infantry. And bang, as my cavalry charges in there. Those SBQR infantry were already tired. I'm not going to hang around there because the enemy Carthage spearmen are forcing their way in there, looking to try and take out my cavalry. So I've routed all those engaged SBQR troops, and I'm now going to pull my cavalry back. If you notice here, remember we saw the back of that engaged Carthage Sacred Band General. Do you see that Legion's charges cavalry into the rear? Now if you notice, Legion hasn't got his units in wedge formation. He's got them in ordinary block formation. In wedge formation you get more penetration. That's why you have wedge formation on cavalry, because you get more penetration there. Right, if you see I'm charging my cavalry into the flank of that Carthage Sacred Band General, looking to take him out. Okay, I don't really want to hang around there facing pikes too long, but I'll go into the rear of that engaged Carthage Sacred Band unit there with my cavalry. Hammer and anvil attack. Notice my infantry are the anvil and my cavalry was the hammer there, as we've routed that one unit. Right, can you see Legion taking his units once again into the rear of engaged enemy troops? As I say, if you put your cavalry in wedge formation, you get more penetration, do more damage, and more likely to rout enemy troops. If you leave them in block formation, they don't get that same kind of penetration there. Okay, so there's a general view of the battle at the moment. If you notice, I'm taking my infantry up to support my Greek cities ally. Now if you look here, can you see that a lot of crypto Spartan units are being attacked on three sides? You can see he got units coming in from this side, Carthage Sacred Band, and he's got pikemen coming in from that side. So his group of units there are being assailed by three different sides there. So I'm running my infantry up here to try and support my Greek cities ally. I think basically all of Trajan's infantry, or most of Trajan's infantry, has been taken out. As we know, all of Legion's infantry has been taken out, but he's using his cavalry extremely well. Okay, so there's a general overview of the battle as it stands at the moment. Remember, the enemy are the Macedons and the SBQR and Carthage. We are Greek cities and Blue and Armenia. Blue, Scipii and Armenia here. Okay, our Carthage, let's go Carthage ally. A Carthage general's just been taken out there. Right, if you look at the difference here between the short Spartan spears and the massive Macedon pikes here. Okay, so the Greek cities guys have got to fight all the way down those long pikes to kill the man on the other end. Right, alarmingly here, can you see several of Crypto's Greek cities units? 3 of them here have just routed. Okay, so things not looking very good for us here in the centre of the battle. As I say, his other Spartan units, he's moving forward to engage the Macedon units. Can you see we routed most of Mad King's infantry, but if you notice, he's got rallied units there. So with those rallied units, my guess is he's going to try and cover the rear of his allies' pikemen there if we get cavalry in behind. Remember, we are cavalry dominant at the moment. We've got a lot of cavalry left here, and now whether that's going to make the difference in the end, I don't know. I can still see some of our Greek city allies' units starting to rout. Right, as you notice here, we're shooting loads and loads of fire arrows from our Armenian archers into those Macedon pikemen, not just causing casualties, but dropping their morale. And remember, Macedon morale is not very good anyway. Right, see Trajan's cavalry trying to get into the rear of that pike unit there, and bang, as that cavalry charged in. Unfortunately for him, the Macedon general spotted it and turned his pikes just in time to catch his cavalry. So he lost a lot of cavalry units there, but I could see what he was trying to do, smash into the rear of that unit. Let's say here, we've got our cavalry up behind the Macedon enemy Macedon team there, and Mad King's moved his rallied infantry up there to try and cover, stop our cavalry smashing into the back of his ally there. Okay, but as you can see, we are cavalry dominant at this stage of the battle. Right, if you notice here, can you see I'm charging my Scipii cavalry into that SBQR infantry, and bang, as my cavalry hits. It wouldn't surprise me if my Armenian ally came in with his cavalry as well there. Right, can you see over here, can you see he's got 2 cavalry, he's charging through the Macedon units there to smash into the rear of those SBQR units, as well as he's bringing other units down in there, and it's a bang, bang hit there. A sandwich hit there, if you like, by those Armenian units there. Nice use of cavalry there by Legion. If you notice there, as I say, he's alt-attacked, you can see him using his effective against armor maces on those enemy SBQR infantry there. Meanwhile, over here on the right flank, you can see several of the enemy units starting to rout. Some of the Macedon and Carthage units are starting to rout there. My guess is one big cavalry charge here. If we can take out that Macedon general, or even weaken him, then that could cause a mass rout, and bang, as Legion's cavalry goes in, trying to take out that Macedon general. Look how he's forcing his cavalry on through. If you notice, I'm charging my infantry in as well, and if you notice, Trajan's charging cavalry in as well. So we're really trying to smash into the what's left of the enemy infantry there, and it looks like our team has managed to go on to win the battle here. I just want to show you different parts of the battlefield. You can remember over on the left flank here where Lando got isolated. Okay, all the way over here on the left. You remember how we kind of took out his army there because he was so isolated. If you notice, it's mostly SBQR casualties here, where he was hit by 2 infantry armies and loads of, well, all our cavalry as well. And as you move up, see there's a gap of dead there between. We move up to our left centre here. You can see where Carthage and my Scipio troops are fighting. As you go further up, you can see the intensity of the fighting here by just looking at the piles of dead all the way across this part of the battlefield. And do you remember over on the right flank here where our Armenian ally was taken out? That was some kind of taken out there on our right flank. So you can see here why I would call this battle a tale of 2 flanks. Let's say we did well on our left flank there, but we then got our right flank taken out. So that's the tale of 2 flanks there. And just to say, never underestimate the archers there. We were shooting into them all the time. Well, as you can see, it says average victory there, but I would have thought it was more close myself there. You know, looking at the units we had left and things like that, I thought it had been close. We must have just scraped in there. I'd just like to say really well done to Crypto's experimental army. Remember, with 5 cavalry, and he got 1,772, the highest kills in the game. So that experimental army did well in this battle. And really well done to Brotherhood member Bark. 1,668, got the 2nd highest kills. So well done to Crypto and Bark. Lando, of course, because he got isolated and hit early in the battle, probably didn't get the kills that he wanted there. But newer players, remember, aggression is good, but if you get isolated, that's what can happen. And that's unfortunately what happened to Lando there. Very aggressive, very attacking, but he did get a little bit isolated, and unfortunately for him, he paid the price there. Okay, Legion there, Legion 22 with his lesser 31k faction of Armenia, as people would say, got 1,175. Now I think we saw his infantry mass rout without hardly killing anybody, so most of those kills would be down to a great use of his cavalry and his archers. Never underestimate how many casualties archers were causing the Macedon units there. As we said, they were shooting into those Macedon units all the time there. And it was nice to see so many different factions in this game. I think there was 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, it was 5 different factions in this battle. Just have a look at the statistics here. I don't think my infantry did absolutely really good there. I don't think my cavalry did all that good there. They did adequately there. But as I say, that's why I thought this would have been more of a close battle than an average one. Spartan Commander saying bye for now.